Alright, 97.7 Outlaw Radio FM listeners, you already know what time it is. It is 8:30 p.m. on the east, 5:30 p.m. on the west. And first up, we got an individual that I've happened to grow a good bond with through these past couple months, and most definitely, in my personal opinion, the king, the number one of the underground. We have Sixxpho right here, right now, on the line. How are you doing this evening, brother?
And I'm good, homeboy. What's happening with y'all up there?
I'm doing pretty good, man. Doing pretty good. Just trying to enjoy the last few days of summer that we currently have going on right now, man. We're in Canada, so you know what I mean. You never know when the first snowfall is gonna hit.
Yeah, what's the weather like up there today?
Not bad, man. I'm gonna be honest with you. Not bad, man. I hit up the beach actually today. It was a little cold hitting the river, man, but it was most definitely refreshing.
Oh, word.
But I gotta ask you, Poe, man, like, going back to the beginning, man, back when times were much simpler, before COVID took over the world, man, but I gotta ask you, what made you decide to get into the music industry initially?
Man, well, I tell you this. When I've been playing with music, man, since I guess probably about the mid-90s. And, when I really figured out that I wanted to do something with this music, man, I was with my little brother, man, and we was listening to the UGK Ride Dirty album, man. I was like, man, this is it. You know what I mean? It's like Bud and Pimp painted a picture, man, that just etched in my mind, man. And it was like, they was talking about things that we see and things that we did. So it was like, okay, I can do this. But it was like, at the same time, I grew up in music. It's like, I remember, man, as far back as I can remember, man, I was like, my grandmama had me sitting beside her, while she was playing the piano and stuff, grew up in the Southern church, so music was just, I grew up around the sound, and I knew I wanted to do something in music, man. Just didn't know what it was quite then, but I just naturally migrated to rapping, and here I am right now.
Hey, man, most definitely. And I also noticed that you were featured on One Mike's telephone, man, with a playa named Stones. I have to ask you, how did you get connected with One Mike and Stones?
Well, it's funny because I did a show in Nashville, and it was the C to Six. And One Mike approached me. He was talking to me about me about Test Squad and what they are, what they stood for, who they were, what they did, and that was one of the first records we recorded. He was like, okay, well, I sat down and debated about it for a little while, talking to my wife about it, and it sounded like it made perfect sense to do that. And it was all about networking. That's one thing that I figured out is you're only as big as your circle, and your circle's got to share the same goals as you. Because a lot of people say that they're self-made. They may have put themselves in position by themselves, but it's like with this music now, you can't. You need a team of people, like-minded individuals, so y'all can grow together. But the Telephone Man record was we recorded that out at 1220 studio in Nashville. And man, it was a crazy record because it was a little bit out of the norm at the first for me because I was just used to the traditional Southern sound. So it made me start seeing at an early time that I needed to expand my horizons with this music and not just stay in one lane with it because it's all about growth.
Most definitely agree, man. And when you said Nashville, because as we already know that's where you're from, if you don't mind me asking, man, is it really like a difficult scene to actually be a hip hop artist? Because as we all know, Nashville is like just famous for country music. Like, is it difficult to be a hip hop artist in your demographic area?
It depends on how you network. And when I say how you network, because with this music you meet people. You run into people all the time that do music, and it's about how you connect with them and how you grow with them. And as far as Nashville, the whole hip hop scene, I feel like that it still kind of plays second fiddle to the bigger demographics, like your East and West Coast, and your Houston's and your LA's and your Miami's and your New York's and your Los Angeles, and so it's all about. I figure it's all about how if we can all come together, and it don't really have to. And before I say this, let it be known that every artist has his or her own agenda. I mean, they've got their own goals, but it's like as a total sound for a city. I think it'll take like a compilation album, like something similar to the Down South Hustlers album. Like that was an epic album, and nobody can deny that. And it was a compilation of a lot of artists from a lot of different sides, a lot of different areas. But they came together, and they had to get somebody to put it together to make it what it is. And it's in my top 50 albums that I'll go listen to. And that's that I think it'll take something like that to really bring the city together and everybody get behind to push it. Because I mean, there's a lot of artists from Nashville that quote unquote made it. So it's a funny market. And another thing with that is there's a lot more opportunities for your indie artists to let's see, to just to kind of grow without having to rely on the label's reach. So I think that the city could stand to have a true compilation album, pushed with a budget, upload to all the platforms, and everybody just come together and push it. That's just what I think. That's what I think for it'll take before we really, really, really get our recognition as the sound coming out here. Because I mean, the sound coming out is crazy here in Nashville, and I can't deny it. I love Music City. I think it's the best place. I think it's the best place to create on the planet, really.
And also, man, I also noticed that you did tons of work with Cuban Pete, actually out of the United Kingdom. I have to ask you, how did yourself and Cuban Pete get connected?
That was through one mic. Cuban Pete is Test Squad too, so Mike, one mic put that together. Shout out to my guy, one mic, man. He what I'm saying, he's a hell of a dude. But he linked me up with Cuban Pete, man, and we started rocking, man. We did the Loyalty record. It's still doing pretty good, and I got a chance to do get a verse on his latest album, on his latest project. So him and one mic, they put together a live test album. So y'all go look that up, get that. It's crazy. But yeah, man, Cuban Pete's a real good dude, man. I appreciate the work that he's got me. I did work for him. He done work for me. So it's an exchange, and that's what Test Squad is. We help each other out. We look out for each other because we're gonna go get it out the mud.
And also, about 4 years ago, there in 2016, you were actually part of Pimpin' Ain't Dead tour. I have to ask you, what was that experience like, and what cities did you guys actually hit during that tour?
Now repeat that again for me.
Oh, sorry. In 2016, you were part of the Pimpin' Ain't Dead tour. I have to ask you, what was that experience like?
Oh man, that was crazy. I got a chance to hop on with Do or Die in Clarksville at the warehouse, and AK and B-Lo, they some real good dudes, and that show was crazy. Was blessed to be a part of that, and so. Yeah, I didn't actually go tour with them. I just got I performed at when they stopped here in Tennessee. So that was a real crazy show.
It still must have been an amazing experience, man. In a way, you were still part of the tour, even though it was just a one city stop for you.
Right. And when you say that, it's kind of like a dream come true because a lot of the artists that I really like, kind of quote unquote looked up to and listened to and just kind of grew up on. It's like I've got a chance to work with some of them now, and so it's like I'm good with with where my catalog is right now, and I'm a really humble cat, man. I don't take things for granted, man, and I think that's one of the biggest things that you got to have. You got to be able to, be able to take no's and say yeses and do songs that you might not necessarily like, that might not be your favorites, or you might have to, go sell some tickets, to perform on a show, because these things happen when you start out, and it's like I did that. So it's like when I feel like that I got it out the mud, I really did, because I came from the bottom, and it's like I tell you, like in 2016 is when I decided that I wanted to really take it serious. So I pumped out 3 mixtapes, and I dropped my first album in 2017. That was Just a Kid from the Hall, and I followed up with Winter's Window, and see that one. I think that one came out in 2018, and then I turned around and I put Guest List out right after that in 2018, and then in 19 I did I went totally independent in 19, and I put out I Am Sixxpho, and so right now I'm working on The Departure. So it's like this grind never stops, man. You got to be able to keep it moving, and it's like I have conversations with people about music, man, as far as now versus the early 90s, and how the social media wasn't available to the guys that were doing this in the mid 90s and the early 2000s like it is now. Because I'll tell you, in the morning I'm gonna get up and go to work. At the same time, when I get off work and I get to this music, I look and I see it's like I got over 100,000 streams on the song, and it's like I'm totally independent. I got a family. I work. I blue collar work. So it's like when I see this, and it's like you got to learn how to use your social media. So I was really I was so excited when I saw that the song cracked 100,000 in such a short time. Because I released the DNA record that's playing right now on Outlaw Radio, and I released that on July 3rd. And I think that's a really big accomplishment for me as as an indie artist, with no marketing plan, with no with just organic shares and streams, and and the purchases. It is where it is now, and it's like so you start to figure out how to use what you have to get to where you want to be in life. You know what I'm saying?
And another great song, man, that's actually another one of my favorites of yours, alongside DNA, is a song called Change, man. As you already know, I purchased that off Google Play, and I placed that in the station's rotation, man, because I have to say, man, it has such a powerful message behind that track, man. But I have to ask you, man, what is the inspiration behind that song? And of course, where can our listeners buy or stream it other than Google Play, of course?
Man, let's see. Change was, when I wrote Change, it was about bumps we go through in life, man, and where you come from, and to where you're going in life. And it's deeper than just the what you hear, because this is my life story. All of my records, they're pieces of my life, and Change was about the change that I made from being in the street, man, hustling, man, going up and down the interstate with it, and to making the decision that I need to raise my family, and family is important. Family is first. Family is everything. So that was what Change was about. So I had to bring it to life some kind of way, and that's what came out.
And I have to say, man, that song is absolutely phenomenal, man. You know, hip hop needs music like that, you know, with the real hip hop substance, with the lyrical flow, and most definitely the storytelling, man. You know, that's why I love. That's why I think I'm drawn to your music personally, man, because you have that storytelling, that you have the elements of hip hop in your music, man. And I think a lot of other underground artists need to take a look at what you're doing, man, because you know what, you're a real cat, man, and these people need to realize what you're doing so they can get some tips.
And that's a heavy comment, man. And it was like, I wanted to, when I decided that I wanted to take this serious, man, it was like, I had to factor in, what did I want as far as, out of my brand. And, I wanted it to be, I wanted to be real. Of course, the music was going to be real. The stories were going to be real. I'm not a big fan of fabricating any kind of stories, to anything to try to gain some clout, which, I see a lot of that now. But and I wanted to make it tasteful, so so my kids could listen to it, to an extent. And that was one of the biggest driving forces, man. Because I'll tell you, man, anybody that knows me personally, they're gonna tell you that my family comes first. And my kids listen to my music, and I don't want to be misrepresented by anything that I may put out. And my kids may go to school or say, hey, my daddy's got a song out, or, my daddy does it. Somebody will listen to it, and, it's about, it's honestly about killing somebody, or, how much dope somebody sold, or just anything like that, and I think that's a big point. I mean, now, if somebody comes from that and that's all they know, that's what they do, okay, cool. It's not for me. And, with that said, do I feel like that I'm cutting myself short? No, because I'm okay with where I'm at, and if my music reaches somebody and helps them make a decision that'll change their life for the better, I've done my job as an artist and a person.
And also, man, I also noticed that you actually have your own podcast as well. I have to ask you, man, can you tell us a bit more about that? And of course, where can our listeners actually just stream your podcast and be able to get a chance to listen to Sixxpho, kind of like using the microphone for other ways rather than just creating hip hop music?
Yeah, man, the State of Hip Hop, man, it's a podcast, and I've done it in 3 different segments, and actually, it's time to crank it back up because I'm going in my 3rd season, man. It's like, I started out as like, okay, I knew I wanted to have a podcast now, but I didn't know how to make it happen until I did some research and talked to a couple of people about it. So, when I started the State of Hip Hop, it was just totally unscripted. I mean, and that's the biggest thing that I like about it. A lot of people go buy scripts, and I feel like doing it on the fly, it brings the element of realness into it, and so the State of Hip Hop is it's on Apple Podcasts. It's the only state of hip hop. It's titled The State of Hip Hop, and I looked up on that, so it's everywhere you can stream podcasts, Anchor, Google Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, everywhere. So, I cover different subjects, man. It's basically, how I feel whenever I get a chance to. And, but it's like, this season this is totally dedicated to the culture itself. And, this entails with me reaching out to, DJs like yourself, artists doing interviews, getting their stories, figuring out why they do what they do, what's their purpose, and, what drove them, to make the decisions they did with music. So, I encourage everybody to listen to it. The last episode I did with a music exec, a guy named Sidney Eugene, and he was one of the only execs to work for all the big 3. And so he's a real good guy, and that interview was really, really deep. So, we touched on, artists, taking care of themselves, and as far as, the administration side, how to handle their paperwork, and what not to do and what to look out for. Just things like that. And that's one thing that the podcast is gonna also do is, we're gonna show artists how, you don't necessarily need a label. And I'm not against labels when I say this, but you don't necessarily need a label to get your music out. And I think that might be a big misconception because, a lot of people feel like, that, they're always shopping, always trying to send songs to labels. And I mean, that's good. I can respect the grind, but at the same time, when you understand the logistics of the administration side of the music business, you'll probably stay away from labels because of the fact that they're in it to make money. So you want to make all your money, you want to make some of your money. That's what it boils down to. That's why I stay indie.
And that's the best way to do it, man. It really, truthfully is. But I have to ask you, Sixxpho, what is next for you, man? Like, is there anything else I missed? Anything else you want to promote? Will we still have you here live on 97.7 Outlaw Radio FM?
Man, I'm telling you this. I'm working on The Departure. This album is so crazy because when you get to fully handle all your creative control, all your mixing and mastering, all your tracking, you can do it on your own. It's like it is a whole new world. And this album is high energy. It's like, I led off with this with DNA, and I've got a Change record, that'll be on there. I've got features, I got features coming from, Sean Paul, the Young Bloods. I've got, feature coming from Tom Ski Mask and Memphis Legend. Of course, I got my guys, One Mic. I got Cuban Pete coming. All my Test Squad label, all my Test Squad family gonna be on that album. And this one, I don't know what to tell y'all when after this one comes out, because y'all gonna definitely hear this Departure.
So Sixxpho. Oh, sorry about that, brother. Go ahead.
No, so actually, I've got another single that I'm getting ready. I'm getting ready to leak out with. I think I'm gonna go on and leak it out tonight. It seems like it's perfect timing. And this one's called Rain Coming, and you're gonna hear it. The only thing I tell you is the rain is coming. It's like this is a whole new Sixxpho from the three other albums that I put out. I wanted to switch it up with The Departure, man. I wanted something really high energy, and I wanted to really push myself as far as I could, with the lyrical content, subject matter, and my beat selection, and I think it's gonna really pay off. I don't know what to tell you, boy. This album is the truth. That's all I can tell you. And I'm gonna do two versions of the album too. I mean, it's like I'm gonna have a digital. I have a digital copy that that of course will go on all the formats. But I'm gonna do so many of a deluxe version that'll have 4 or 5 songs on it that won't be on the digital release. So it's all about marketing, and this album is gonna be crazy. I can't wait for it to get done. I mean, I'm in the process of mixing it now, and that brings me to another subject, man, that I want to chop up with you. I learned to handle my own music mixing, all my post production, and I want to give a shout out, to the people at the House of Blues studio. Jesse Corby, Malcolm Springer. These guys they're crazy behind the boards, and I learned how to mix and master my own music, and it is a process. But at the same time, these are things that when you learn, it's kind of like learning how to put bait on the hook and just learn how to fish. And I think that by me learning how to do this, I've also expanded my horizon some, because I do offer mix and mastering services, and I do it. I mix and master the Cuban Pete and One Mic's album, the live test. I mix and mastered that whole project, and it was a real learning experience. But we got to the sound that we wanted, and so I'm everything is lovely. You know what I mean? I feel like I'm headed to the top, and at the same time, when I say I'm headed to the top, that's in my own lane. And you know, it doesn't. I don't ever want to compare myself to another artist as far as my, you know, your achievements, what you have accomplished, what you haven't accomplished. And you know, that was a big thing starting out, because it's like, okay, I set goals where, you know, I wanted to, you know, sell, you know, so many records and get so many streams, and you know that it wasn't realistic, because at the time when I released Just a Kid from the Hall, I didn't know how to really use the social media to my advantage to to maximize it. So that's, you know, it's all a learning process, and you know, as far as what's on the horizon, what's coming up for me, you know, the Departure album is coming, and you know, I'll be doing mixing and mastering. I'll start, you know, I'm going to get back to, you know, producing beats, and you know, migrating into the other side of music, and you know, I want to make sure that the next generation knows how to handle their business with music. You know, I think that's where I'm going to get the most benefit, as far as, you know, showing people, you know, what they need to do as far as, you know, how to register themselves as an artist. You know what the jargon is. You know what terminology is. How to navigate through contracts and all that. You know, but it's like, you know, I'm going to do it for myself, for the culture. And if I help somebody from signing a bad deal, or you know, knowing what something means to keep them from making a mistake with the contract, then, you know, I've done my job once again. And it's like, you know, I learned. It's like, you know, I listen to Gary Vee, and you know, some other motivators. And you know, the biggest thing that I see is, you know, you give back. You give back what you learn, and that's, you know, that's what I tell people all the time. It's like, you know, the things that I learned, if I don't show somebody else what I've learned, I feel like I've cheated the game. So, you know, I was having a conversation with a little cat on Facebook today. You know, so, you know, I told him, I was like, you know, I'm here to help you. And you know, if I wouldn't say anything, then you would know that you were, you know what I'm saying, the way that you were moving, you're not, you know, putting off a good reflection for whatever brand you're trying to build. And you know, it was one of them small things you go back and forth with somebody about. But then it's like, you know, it clicks in their head. It's like, okay, you know, this guy isn't just trying to be ugly. You know, he's trying to really give you some free game. And that's, you know, that's where I'm at with stuff. You know, I'm at a really comfortable point in my music, and so I feel like that it's really just time for me to give back. And you know, however I can help anybody, is what I'm gonna do. So you know, that's just where I'm at with you know, what I want to do, man.
And also, man, directly after this interview, you are actually debuting a brand new track that's fresh off the press, man. When I mean fresh, I mean super fresh, man. Like, you know what I mean? Soft bread fresh, bro. You know what I mean? Just got done about an hour ago, dude. It's called Rain Comin'. I have to ask you, you tell our listeners just briefly about that, man. That way, when they actually listen to it, they can wrap their head around your track just a little bit better.
Man, Rain Comin' is basically, it's about me telling y'all with this album that, you know, that the rain is coming. It's like, you know, with this album, I feel like that you know, that this album is so much stronger than all the other projects that I've made and created, that I have to, you know, I feel like I've got to let you know that this is not anything that, you know, that you've heard before from me. It's a whole different, you know, sound on this album. And you know, when I did The Rain Coming, you know, the goal is just, you know, I'm crazy bars, you know, I'm off the wall with it. You know, I switch my cadence up, and we going in on the rain coming. You know, and when I say, when you ain't lying, when I tell you it's hot off the press, it is hot off the press. Like my digital distributor don't even have it. Only people's got it is BMI. That's just where it's registered at. So the rain is coming. The departure is coming. You know, DNA change, and you know I've got so many crazy records on there. It's like one of the records on the album is you know, On My Grown Man, and it's got my homeboy Young Jay on there. You know, I've been rocking with him like since I decided to really get into this music again. And you know, I finally got him in. And you know, being on your grown man, it's like, you know, you still handle your business, man. You still have fun, man. You still do what you need to do. But it's a whole new vibe, man, because we ain't kids no more. And so, you know, On My Grown Man is another crazy record. I mean, I've got, oh man, let's see, I've got a track called, you know, Broken Promises with my homie One Mic on there. I've got On My Soul, that's got my guy Jabbo on there. That's another member of my Test Squad. Cuban Pete's on that record. I've got and you know, my homie Mark Beast. You know, he Test Squad too. We cut a bunch of records, and you know, I got a record called Came Up, and you know, he's featured on that, man. It's my guy. He's from Louisiana. I mean, he got crazy bars. You know, I love that dude. So, you know, the departure is crazy. You'll have the album. I'll send you the deluxe version of it, and you know, of course, you know, you get the digital version, but I want you to have the deluxe version because, you know, these extra songs is I can't even explain how excited I am to do this album and for it to be everything that it is. So I'm turned up about it.
And so, Sixxpho, this is the time in the interview, brother, that I give a chance for the individual that slides into the radio station airwaves. Just a chance to give shoutouts to whomever they want to give shoutouts to. And of course, man, if you can, drop them social media handles. That way our listeners can follow you and everything Sixxpho if they're not already doing so.
Alright, so check it. You know, first I want to give a shout out to my mama, my wife, my kids, my whole family. I'm gonna give a shout out to to everybody in Test Squad. You know, that's One Mic, Stacks, Psycho, Cuban Pete, Jabbo, Vicious, Mark Beast. You know, Player Named Stone. There's a couple of them that I don't even remember right now. You know, I'm gonna give a shout out, you know, to everybody who's listened to me from day one and who's been rocking with me because, you know, these are the ones that matter. It's like, you know, we are who we are as artists, but we're not who we are without the fans. You know what I'm saying? You know, because, you know, that's how we eat. You know, the fans give us traction. You know, they're the ones, they give us the feedback we need, and they let us know, you know, through analytics, you know, what they like and what they don't like. You know, about you or your song or anything they do, because, you know, social media is so powerful right now that, you know, there's definitely somebody that I don't know that's listening to this right now. And to that person, I'm going to tell you, you know, look me up on social media. You know, my Instagram handle is @Sixxpho_615. That's SIXXPHO_615. That's the same thing for my Twitter account. My Facebook is Sixxpho. That's, you know, SIXXPHO. And you know, those are the ones that I use. And you know, it's really powerful, man. You know, I appreciate everybody, man. I'm humble. If, you know, somebody wants to work, you can email me or you can send me a DM, me any of my social media, and, you know, I'll be happy to work with you. I don't turn down work because I feel grateful for everything that I've accomplished. So this is one way that I'm trying to give back. So, you know, if somebody needs something, you know me, I do mix and mastering services. I'm cheaper than about anybody that, you know, that you run into. And, you know, I'm gonna give you industry quality work. So, you know, I've got my website, you know, that's sixxpho.ueniweb.com. You can book your mixing sessions through there, or you can just hit me in a DM. It's whichever. You know, I I'm really accessible, and I think that's a big trait that you got to have. Is you be accessible, to your fans, because it's like, man, I'm just like me. I'm just like you, man. I'm gonna go to sleep tonight. I'm gonna get up. I'm gonna go to work, and at the same time, it's like I don't really. I guess I stay so focused on the next thing that I don't stop and look back at at what all I've done, and where I've come from, and where I'm going. It's just like I just stay getting to it, man. Because the day you lay off is the day that day that you pay off. So I've got, and speaking of the day you lay off, it brings me to another record that's on the album. It's it's called We Ain't the Same though, and it's that one is just strictly about you grind, you grind and you go get it, and some people are used to a certain type of thing and a certain way of life, and that's just not me. It's like we got to go get it, and because it ain't gonna come to you. So We Ain't the Same though. That's another crazy record that's gonna be on the album. And like I said, man, the departure. That's all I'm gonna tell you. The hashtag, the departure. It's coming. I don't have a release date set for it yet, but it'll be before the year is up. I'm getting ready to drop this Rain coming probably here in the next day or so. Y'all get ready to get the world premiere of Rain coming here in a little bit, and so I tell you, get ready, world, because I'm here now. It's my time. So I put this work in, and it's time for y'all to see this. So Death Squad Rapper, Music City, USA, man, it's Sixxpho.
But I gotta say, Sixxpho, man, thank you so much again for taking the time out of your busy evening and coming on 97.7 Outlaw Radio FM, man. It truthfully was an honor and most definitely a privilege, man. I hope you have yourself a wonderful night, and most definitely, man, stay safe out there in Nashville.
All right, man, I love y'all, man. I appreciate you, man. So, it's going down. I'm telling y'all again, the departure is going to be everywhere. So just get ready. Man, y'all have a blessed evening, man. I'll holler at y'all. Love.
Most definitely. Have yourself a great night, brother.